battery is bad currently. So
no.
I'm having to take it in to the shop, which I was going to do tomorrow. So we've been using Kelsey's car, and Kelsey's battery to her fob just died. So now I'm in the parking lot of the gym. I can't, and her car doesn't have just like a normal keyhole.
Wait,
How do cars not have a normal keyhole?
Can you pop the?
You could, yeah.
No. On her car, next to her handle, like where your thumb would be if you're opening with your left hand. Can you pop that off? Like, is there a keyhole under it?
You want me to try? You want me to try?
No, is there like a
break her
keyhole
car right
under
now?
it? Yeah. Hold up. Let me make this big. Yeah, that right part. I see it. Under there. Stick the key in there. Pop that out.
Oh!
Dude, this is incredible.
All right, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me call Kelsey real quick. Hold on.
That pops off. There's a keyhole under it.
Worked. Only issue is now I can't figure out how to put it back on, but I can do it.
It's a break glass just in case, like you don't put it back.
Yeah, I can deal with that later. But now I'm having to go to the gas station because now I'm worried that Kelsey, when she goes and gets gas, I didn't tell you that. I don't know if I told you that part, but my car was pretty much on E. So now she's worried that she's not gonna have enough gas to get back to the house. So she's going to the gas station, but now I'm worried that's not giving the car enough time to juice up on the bad battery.
So then she's not going to be able to restart the car.
And when she tries to restart the car, it's not going to. For your service.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome into debate night. We got ourselves quite an episode today. We got some fun topics. We got a new guest, and we got Brodie on a mission to make it home.
We have a new guest? Oh my God, I didn't even realize. Nice. Sorry. nice to meet you.
What an
Hey,
intro.
Brodie, what's up? Hey there.
My bad. Yeah, my bad. You had to
I'm glad to
see
be a
all
part
that
of your
before the
adventure.
show. Yeah.
So
It's always something.
Brodie, I guess Hunter's gonna read the comment of the week.
Yeah. So two things first. I'll say one thing, then Hunter can read the comment, and then I'll say something at the end. So
Okay.
the top comment from last week. Sorry, man of the people here, guys. Top comment from last episode was simply Matt's camera, and this is like a new feature with the iPhone. When I got my new phone, I like to get a new iPhone every like 5 to 7 years to really just see the updates. So when I got the new iPhone and FaceTime Kelsey for the first time, it creeped the heck out of both of us. And so when he started his thing, I knew exactly what it was, and I knew. I probably should have said something because I knew it was going to drive other people crazy, not just myself. But I just knew I just wasn't going to look at him. So it wasn't going to bother me. So that's probably selfish on my part. So apologies there, man of the people. I should have said something. But we made it through the episode. Other than that, though, people did seem to like Matt. So that was a good intro. But okay, go ahead, Hunter, with the comment.
All right, this is the comment Brodie has texted me to read since he's driving. He said, he didn't say. This person said, you guys, mostly Brodie, are being purposefully obtuse about the rule. If you walk in front of your lie and kick a pine cone, penalty. It's not nearly as ambiguous as you're making it. Obviously, the spirit of the rule is moving material in order to gain an advantage, and to spell it out for every circumstance would turn into a tax code length of verbiage. What's absolutely clear is you can't move stuff in front of your lie or even above your lie. And so...
Pause it right there. Pause it right there.
Yes, sir.
Pause it right there. So he did not like me saying that if you walked in front of your lie and you kicked a pine cone, that theoretically that by the law could be a penalty. But then the verbiage he just said right there, read it one more time, what he just said.
What's absolutely clear is you can't move stuff in front of your lie or even above your lie.
So if you walk in front of your lie and you kick a pine cone, Hunter, is that moving something in front of your lie?
Yes, sir, Mr. Brodie.
So would that then be a penalty?
According to how clear this rule is, yes.
So what is this guy talking about?
It's
What is
clear
this
as
guy
day.
talking about? So
Spirit
yeah,
of the game. Spirit of the game.
Yeah, you got it.
So I'll just say that that is why you actually need to have verbiage that makes sense. Otherwise, people are going to use whatever they want to define it as, and then you have everyone playing by different rules. Next thing I was going to say, last thing, real quick, sorry, and then I have to pump gas. Is this again, man of the people? Let me know in the comments whether you guys like this idea or not. But I'm proposing a new situation here on debate night. I think, hey, if you want to type out your responses and when it comes to your turn to answer the question, you just read your responses and you don't really engage with what others say, that's fine. I think the show would be a lot more entertaining if everyone came with like key points that they want to talk about, but they actually were like listening to what others said and debating off of what others said, AKA debate night. Now, that could be a terrible idea and people in the comments could tell me they hate that. I'm guessing people would much rather hear the what are we? We're not contestants. We're panelists, and panelist is probably a better name than analyst. I'm guessing they would much rather us debate one another's points and talk about one another versus I say something and then literally the next person just doesn't even have anything to say about what I said and they just read their thing. That's my only proposal. I could be an idiot. I'm going to pump gas.
Okay, Hunter, how about you, man?
I am here and I'm excited to be here. I'm flying by the seat of my pants a little bit today. Had a hectic day, so didn't get to make any notes here.
Man, you had a hectic afternoon. Where were you before
I went
this?
to the driving range for 20 minutes, and all of a sudden, I didn't have a busy day. Look, dude, some of us are trying to get our golf swing fixed here, but that was just 20 minutes. That wouldn't have been long enough to plan out the show anyways. Other than that, it has been jam-packed schedule. So
yeah,
but it's okay. It's okay. I'm pretty good off the dome normally, as long as there's no statistic questions.
As long as you don't have to argue with me, right?
I plead the fifth.
Then I won't let you win. Nikki is joining us again.
Yes, and I'm excited to be here. And I had a really actually very busy day, but no golf for me. So, but it's all right. It's okay.
This happens on the golf course, people.
I mean, I'd like to go outside sometimes, but it's the week before spring break, and I'm a teacher, and stuff's crazy. So
expensive. Don't worry. This is personal. This is personal. Not on the company card.
And then we are also joined today by Krew, another new guest. So what's up, Krew?
Yeah, what's up, man? Excited to be here. A little bit about me. I'm from St. Louis. Been playing disc golf for like 2.5 years previously from the golf space. So, Hunter, if you need some help, let me know. Okay.
I didn't today. I was dialed. I'll tell you what.
Well, call me tomorrow and we'll talk. Okay. But excited to be here. Super stoked.
Awesome. All right. Well, we got some topics to get into. Obviously, it was an off week, so we're just kind of going all over the place here. We do have some things that are kind of current events. We're going to start with kind of the tour schedule as a whole here. Mainly these breaks, and we talk about the breaks in the schedule a lot because it seems like each year they do place them some in certain areas consistently, but then I feel like there are other times where they pick and choose different spots to kind of take the breaks versus have the back-to-back weeks. So the question here, the breaks in the tour season are commonly dictated by length of travel and the prestige of the upcoming event, for example, a major. Should the tour keep events closer at the start of the season to shy away from these frequent off weeks, or is it good to keep fans from getting overwhelmed? And then also I want to know, when is the best stretch of tour to have the multiple back-to-back events scheduled, if ever? Because it usually is at least a few sections of tour where we do get back-to-back or back-to-back-to-back events. Brodie, if you are ready, it's time to go.
If not, you can pivot to me. I can take this. And we can put him last.
Are you ready,
Sorry,
Brodie?
Kelsey's yelling, what is that? I have no idea. That's not mine at all. No. I have your key. That's just a random thing at a gas station. Okay. Well, the car started. I know no one cares, but the car started.
I care.
Everyone's gonna get home safely tonight. Everyone's getting home safely tonight.
Hey, Brodie won the show, even if he doesn't win it. He won it in
Dear
spirit.
Lord. Okay. We're talking about the schedule.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. I'm going to say something that everyone hates whenever I say this, whenever I compare disc golf to other sports, but I am going to do it again because I do think it's fascinating. So Ironman, very interesting. Very well. It was just here in Dallas, so we went out to watch it, and it's very interesting because I think it's actually very similar to disc golf in a way. We saw a lot of sprinter vans in the parking lot, and with the payouts and everything like that. I don't think these people are making insane amounts of money. The professionals they are, and I think what that is doing is that is forcing players or professionals or whatever you want to call themselves, athletes, to have to go to event after event, and you're having to plan these events in a way that people can travel to event to event. Now, contrary to that, on the golf side of things, the interesting about golf is some of the top players, they could theoretically make a lot more money if they played in all these events, right? Because even like the smaller events in golf, you're still taking home millions of dollars, at least $1 million or close to it if you win the event. But they decide not to. And the reason for that is that is going to hurt their chances, or in their opinion, that's not going to help their chances win the big tournaments. And to them, a little bit of money here and there doesn't really move the needle. And then ultimately, too, they probably also think if they are money driven, winning the Masters or like a major like that, they're going to make so much more money off of sponsorships than if they win these little guys. So as of right now, the way that and I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, so I do apologize. But the way that the schedule is set up right now is, and I don't think they can really shy away from it because a lot of these people are paycheck to paycheck, unless they have, parents that are paying for them or sugar mamas or whatever it is. You're basically having to make it to where people can go to tournaments on a weekly basis and travel by car. And that's kind of the way they have it set up. And I don't really think it's going to go anywhere other than that until maybe big money comes in. And then maybe they can do a little more traveling.
So, Hunter, since that isn't happening right now and they are taking lots of breaks, what do you think that means for the fans?
Sorry if I didn't answer your question.
I think this is an interesting thought experiment, right? Because we feel it early in the season every time, like, dang, there's all these off weeks. Because early season, that's true. But as I look at the schedule, like we went Supreme Flight, week off, Big Easy at Open, week off, Queen City, week off, Major, week off. But we're about to enter a stretch where it's like there's an event going on pretty much every weekend. And that will carry us for quite a while. I mean, I think that the timing to kind of look at this a few different ways. One, I like the weeks off and the spacing out being early season, as I feel like it's everyone's all excited. You have all this momentum naturally. You don't need to build momentum, right? Because it's just like everyone has been dying to see disc golf. We get it. We get it back. We're not having to have something every week to hold our attention. We're itching for more disc golf. Versus mid-season, late season is when I feel like other sports start to tune up. Football's starting to come back. Basketball's starting to come back. Life's starting to get busy. That's when I feel like it's good to have something every weekend where you don't have this, oh, there's a weekend off. I watched basketball or football or whatever, and I forget that disc golf even exists. And then you have to recapture my attention. You just hold my attention. And if you look at how the schedule's laid out, realistically, we hit April. Very busy. Obviously, there's a Jomez event thrown in there. Then they give us a week off just to get basically from Texas to the West Coast. Then, if you factor the Jomez event in, nothing going off. Then we go to Europe. Europe's boom, 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 boom. And then the home stretch once we get back. I mean, it's week after week after week, which with only really a week off before Worlds. So I think the way it's structured with the gaps being a little bit earlier, I like mainly because from a fan perspective, I'm already so motivated to watch disc golf that a week off isn't going to lose me, whereas it might later in the season.
Yeah, that's a valid point. I definitely do feel the urge for that next event to come around. Nikki, how do you feel about the schedule pacing?
Well, I like what Brodie and Hunter said. Like, they're right. We have to be able to drive to events for the most part. And I do think the pacing at the start being kind of slow is okay because the momentum, just like Hunter said, I had a couple other thoughts though. I would like to see an Elite Plus event in like all of the regions, like spread out a little bit. So from a player's perspective, like sometimes players miss the West Coast because it can be more expensive to get out there. And there are 2 Elite Plus events out in the West Coast swing. And so those are like mega points. So as a player, you want to go and you want to play the events that have the biggest chance for points, but they also have cut lines. They've also got a little bit extra pressure and stress, but giving like two Elite Pluses to a region where maybe not everybody's going to be able to afford to get out there. I don't know. I kind of would like to see maybe one in the Southeast swing. I think the Central swing is really good. Drivability, I like when you get to the Midwest swing that those events, Ledgestone, Discmania, Preserve, are kind of back to back to back because those are easy drives and there's not really that much to do in that region. It's not like in New Orleans when you saw the players like going to the town and getting some culture and soaking it up. So I don't love that there's a gap week between all of the first 3 events, but you're just getting going. The Pro Tour has to set up events. They have to get back into their swing of like, how do we get things running day to day and make sure things are going smoothly. So it provides maybe a little bit of an administrative break for the people actually on the course, getting things set up, getting going too. So I can understand where if you're going to put gap weeks there, that's fine. Gap weeks should always happen before Elite Pluses or majors, and I think they pretty much do. I still don't love that some of the women have to miss Heinola if they want to play U.S. women's, but I don't know that there's a super great solution to that problem. And I do think overall the drivability and stuff is pretty good. So with those couple changes, like maybe moving the Elite Pluses around a little bit to get the point spread a little bit better, I think the season is structured pretty well from my point of view.
Yeah, it's valid. They definitely try to draw people out to the West Coast, but it does just because they're Elite Plus doesn't change the fact that it is still expensive and players we've seen them many times make the decision not to go somewhere like Portland. Krew, wrap it up with your thoughts on the schedule pacing here.
Yeah, I think you guys make a couple of really valid points about the player's perspective of the breaks and tour and the drivability and all these things. But when you look at it, man, the disc golf schedule itself is a product. Like we're trying to sell disc golf. And so I think the breaks in the beginning, like Hunter said, are good because nobody has to stir up more momentum. I mean, when that summertime hits, when majors are kicking, man, if we have event to event, like people are playing disc golf, which means they want to watch more disc golf. And all of a sudden the game continues to grow. I think also breaks are good too, because the depth of the disc golf field talent wise isn't comparatively to like the PGA Tour. It's not super deep. If you think about it, right? The PGA Tour, they can have events like almost every single weekend throughout the entire year, and they're going to have somebody that is just going to beat the brakes off of somebody always. But with disc golf, man, if we have events every single weekend throughout the year, you're going to end up watching me playing the Preserve, and nobody wants to see that, okay? And so I think the breaks are good. But when the majors are kicking up, the summertime's kicking, man, that stretch of like weeks going and going is good for the game of disc golf to grow. People are getting more fired up about rivalries happening. Like Nikki was saying, if we change a couple of other things, there's more development and narrative across the disc golf standings and all these things. So I think as a whole, breaks are good. Stretching them by majors is also good. But ultimately, we got to think about it as a product. And so give the people what they want when they want it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I kind of disagree with what Krew said when he's talking about you're going to watch him play the Preserve. I mean, there's a tournament. Isn't the tournament this weekend not on the Disc Golf Pro Tour?
Which tournament?
Queen City Classic?
Yeah,
Queen City, it's a Pro Tour.
It's elite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, it's on the tour.
Yeah, it's a tour event.
That one is on the tour? Okay.
Yeah.
The Jomez events are the one that aren't like Waco.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that technically aren't.
Yes.
I think even if you had, and we have seen this with some of the bigger tournaments that like fall in between the off weeks. We've seen it at like CCR Open, I believe, is a big one. I'm blanking on some of the other ones off the top of my head, but we have seen it where a decent pool of good pros show up to those events, and also those are events that guys that are kind of on the fringe are looking to jump in and trying to splash and make a lot of money. So I think that is, if there was a pro event every single week, and I don't think you would ever see, as of right now, I don't think you would ever see a field where Krew's on the lead card. I just don't think, Krew, I don't know how good you are. I'm just guessing you're not going to make the lead card. I don't think that would happen. And my question to the panel here is, do we think every tournament the Disc Golf Pro Tour puts on if you take out all the external money, so you don't take in the subscription money that they're making, you take in just the money that tournament is generating. Ticket sales, merchandise sales, sponsorship sales, specifically for that event. Do you think that is a break even on every single event? Do you think they're making money on every single event? What is your guys' thoughts on that?
I saw, didn't they just post today, like the Charlotte event almost sold out of like fan passes? And did I like maybe imagine that? I thought I saw that on Instagram. Like, I think it just matters like where it is and like how big the community is, right? Like in New Orleans.
But what I'm saying is like, it obviously costs a lot of money to put on an event.
Right.
My question is, if the Disc Golf Pro Tour was making $100,000 every single event, I think the Disc Golf Pro Tour would have an event every single week. I think the fact that they're not making money, like if they're break even on some of these events, if you take out the subscription, wouldn't it make sense if you're the Disc Golf Pro Tour to have one event and have all that subscription money covering that one event versus having 4 events and then that subscription money splits? You see what I'm saying? I'm curious as to, there's got to be a business side on the Pro Tour as well.
Yeah, no, there's a reason why, like, if Taylor Swift goes on tour, for example, she wants a tour stop every single night because it's a moneymaker every single time. To your point, yeah, I think that if a Pro Tour disc golf event was a huge moneymaker, they would probably try to have one every weekend. Yeah, that's
why
a good
wouldn't
point.
they?
I think that gives us reason though to look at like where the stops are, right? Like, you know, having the stop in Charlotte is good. Looking at how, like what the fan crowd is like, I don't know, maybe some of the stops need to be evaluated for like how much money are they making on the fans, you know?
Yeah, and I think they are obviously making money with the subscriptions, right? That's they keep talking about the subscriptions and how important that is. So my thing is, if they do an event, where's that event out like North Dakota or South Dakota that they did that one time? You guys, Montana? Was it Montana?
None of the above.
Where they had like 16 people showed up.
Was it the like exhibition match?
No, it was I think it was a silver event.
Yeah, it was a silver event.
Oh, there
I'm
was a
thinking,
silver event out there.
There's like 5 FPO.
Didn't Ty Love play really well at that event? I think that was one of the first times he was on coverage. I remember that event.
So like my guess is like that event probably didn't profit them that much money. So it's like, why the heck would they ever do that again? So I think to Nikki's point, I think if they are going to do events, then yeah, they have to do events that at least break even, and then they've got that subscription money to cover it. The rest, I guess.
With the subscription model, it is a funny predicament as far as like the Pro Tour wants to run a lot of events because obviously like they want to give the pros a lot of opportunity, all that, but profitability wise is
exactly
as few events as you can run and keep your subscriptions up as possible is the model.
Exactly.
Which I do think is why
too,
when we see the bunching together, it's a big cost for the Pro Tour is the like travel expense and all of that from event to event. And so it's like when we can go together. Midwest, a lot of the Pro Tour employees I think even live kind of in that Midwest region, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. I think that you can just batch it there, be like, hey, all of y'all are on the road for a month straight. We're gonna really ramp up subscriptions there, and then pull back towards the off season and the two tail ends of the thing.
The other fascinating thing too is like, does their deal with Barbasol also have an event number? Does Barbasol say we want 20 events, and then the Disc Golf Pro Tour is like, we're just doing 20 events, aka
Powerball.
All these other events Powerball. All these other events are going Jomez. Like we're just doing the bare minimum that Powerball wants, and then everything else goes to Jomez because we don't want to have to. It's definitely something to think about.
So let's talk a little bit about DGN and kind of from the media and narrative side that we're kind of talking about before there. So one thing we've been seeing them push a lot is this Rick and Gannon narrative. Obviously, some of that has just been fueled by actions, but they're definitely leaning into it. So I want to know what you think. How fine is the line between forcing a rivalry in a sport that desperately needs some, and then not pushing the narrative enough so that it never picks up steam or just dies out? Has the DGN media team done a good job so far with the Rick and Gannon narrative? Have they really needed to do much at all with everything that's transpired between them? Because obviously, you know, we beg and beg for rivalries, but then sometimes we're pretty quick to jump on them if we feel like they're milking it too much. What do you think, Hunter?
I think that first off, the fine line. I think that we can read between the lines, right? Like, if this was they're trying to force this between Ricky last year and Gannon last year, like if they're never neck and neck, then we aren't feeling it nearly the same as they went 1-2 and then 1-2 flipping the first two events. So like you already have that, but where the DGN/DGPT has done a great job is ensuring that when there's been moments to capitalize on pushing it, they have. The biggest one of these is the comments that Gannon Burr made on the All Birdies No Bogeys podcast, where he basically said, where Ricky came after, like, hey dude, Ricky's literally told me multiple times during a round, like, I'm just getting lucky and it's ridiculous, like, chill bud, I'm up by 9 strokes, that whole thing. That podcast, total podcast, got 8.5 thousand views. I would imagine roughly 3,000 of those people, maybe 2,000, actually watched the full thing. So you have roughly 2,000 people that might have heard that segment. Instead, they clip it out, put it on social on a post that has reached over 100,000 people to ensure now 50 times more people have seen it and known about that going into the next event, which happened to be the Big Easy Open, which happened to be where they're going neck and neck. So some of it is kind of blind luck, right? They did what they needed to do. They made the clip. They made sure everyone saw it. And now you have them going neck and neck with the stick gate and the OB crossing and all that. And now all of a sudden you have a beautiful narrative writing itself. And I think they're leaning into it really well because it's something that we as fans are noticing and they're feeding it, which I think is the perfect storm. If they were just trying to be like, oh, Paige Pierce and Sarah Hokum are rivals, and it's like, what? Then that wouldn't land.
It is crazy. A lot of people don't realize that it was set up in a way with those podcast comments before all those things went down at the Big Easy Open. Nikki, what do you think about their rivalry pushing?
I mean, the script has been kind of writing itself. Like, that podcast was obviously like one moment they kind of got to it, but part of it is just the personality of both Gannon and Rick. Like, Gannon he thinks a lot about the sport. He's really smart about it. Like, he isn't maybe he gets lucky, but he's highly skilled, and he's highly skilled on purpose because he thinks about it. He's very intellectual about the sport, where I would say Ricky is more like an instinctual player. Like, he's the world's best scrambler. He kind of like goes blind on the course. He just plays out of his mind. And both of them has such high level playing ability that cool stuff happens. So they're kind of a natural pairing as far as drama goes, right? Like, because dramatic things are going to happen with both their play styles. They both play at a really high level. And then, of course, we got the podcast, we got Stickgate, we got all that kind of stuff that they both feed into. I think it's awesome. Honestly, I don't know, maybe they would disagree with me, but fans love to talk about the sport. Fans love to talk when there are calls and there's rules and officiating. And so now we get this whole discussion. You know, people love it when refs make bad calls and you're watching football and everybody fights over it, right? Well, we kind of got our own little drama that way, and we're discussing rules, and it makes our sport feel more validated, and it's exciting. It's exciting to talk about. Even like the tee pads at Big Easy, people were debating, well, is this good or bad? I think it's cool. I think it looks like a court. I think people who outside of disc golf would look at disc golf and be like, oh, look, this is like their court area, and maybe like it makes more like bells ring as far as sports. And then you can see like foot faults more easily off the tee pad, and people can get more engaged with that. And so that can add to the drama and stuff too. So I don't know. I think so far DGN's been lucky. They haven't had to push it a lot. The two guys at the top, are top players, and the script's kind of been writing itself at the moment. So
yeah, there's no doubt that a lot has fallen into their lap. Absolutely. Krew, what do you think about this rivalry?
Yeah, I think the rivalry is incredible for the sport. I mean, it's been handed to the DGN on a silver platter, like we all just said. Nobody's really had to do anything. It's basically just do your normal journalism, and this thing becomes this blazing fire that everybody wants to pay attention to. I think in general, like forcing rivalries, I think we saw it a bit with Gannon and AB. It was like try to be these two young upcomers going at it, and it just like never panned out. Like Gannon was just always winning, and so it kept feeling like it was being forced down our throats to pin them against each other, but it never took place. And so good rivalries just happen naturally, and with a cool crew in DGN, they naturally just do journalism about the things they're supposed to report about, and then voila, we have this beautiful rivalry that's taking place. And like Nikki was saying too, it grows the sport. Like I feel like I've invited people in talking about disc golf who aren't disc golfers, because I'm like, yo, look at this crazy, rules controversy that's taking place. All these things that I can now invite outside community that wants nothing to do with disc golf. And now we're talking about sports controversy. Like Nikki said, everybody loves it. Like people eat it up. As soon as there is the slightest bit of rivalry even thrown into a rules controversy, this thing blows up. And now you have more eyes on disc golf, more people watching the podcast, like Hunter said, and it's just all around good for the game. DGN's done a great job of covering these things for sure.
Yeah, it's valid bringing up, like, they did for a bit there try to throw out the, like, AB Gannon thing. We've seen them toss these, like, you know they're trying to push a rivalry when you see that, like, graphic come up with 2 players on either side, and they're trying to, like, kind of almost fish for it a little bit, and this time it's just stuck more. Brodie, do you think that do you think this is kind of their first success at that? Do you think it's working? Can't hear you.
Oh,
Unmute.
no. Muted Brodie.
We thought he almost made the tech transition of the century.
Muted horse.
Going from phone to computer.
Almost beautiful.
It was.
All right.
Beautiful.
There it
You're
is.
good. You're good.
Adjust the audio.
There we go.
Wait, let me get my train of thought. Say your question again. Sorry, Trevor.
Basically, how fine is the line between forcing a rivalry and then are they doing a good job with the Gannon Rick thing?
So I think the Disc Golf Pro Tour, what they should do is they should literally pump out as much stuff as they possibly can. And then what sticks and what they see people talking about, then you dig more into that. You don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. So I applaud them for doing that. You got to try. I do want to push back a little bit on something that Nikki and Krew said. If one of my buddies was big into a sport that I either didn't know about or didn't care and was like, dude, check this out. Look at this rule infraction everyone's talking about. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to be nice and be like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And then I'm not going to care about it at all. So I don't really know if that's going to be the thing to get people in. But I will say rivalries, that is something. When you've got 2 top people, I know right now wrestling is not something that I'm like super interested in, but they just had the whole wrestling thing. And I was listening to this guy talk about the 135 class and how there's these freshmen. I think there was 5 freshmen coming in as a 135. And it was like a GOAT battle of whoever ended up winning was going to be the GOAT of the class. I actually watched a couple of the matches. I watched a couple of the clips online. That brought me in. Greatness, I think, brings people in outside the sport, not rules infractions. And then to push back a little bit on Nikki's court, looks like a court. I think it's cool. We got to remember the golf tee, like where golfers play, it's literally grass that's just cut shorter and they put 2 tee markers. And people think that's incredible. So it's like, I don't think you need to make it look like something special. I think us just having concrete slab the way it was, I think is fine because a lot of these other sports, they have some very basic stuff and I think it works for them. So it can work for us.
I don't know, maybe like the whole like landing.
It looks like hopscotch. It looks like we're playing hopscotch out there.
I'm not saying like the big ones are like the perfect final product, but I do like the line. I like the line around it because for the same reason that we had the drama over this rules infraction with the stick gate thing, like then, people are going to be watching the players and they're going to be talking about footballs. And it's another thing that people can watch the coverage and they can get involved and be like, oh, I can see this rule. I can see that rule. That's my only thought on that.
But the problem, and this is what I'll say with that, is you have Gannon Burr talking about how there were tons of football faults. And I asked Jeff Spring, were any foot faults called over the week? And he said no. I think you got to try to eliminate as many things as possible from disc golf where we're as fans watching it being like, that is a rule. Why is that not being called? And because here, and this is the last thing I'll say.
Have to be called. Yeah.
This is the last thing I'll say with the whole rivalry because it kind of plays in with the rules being called. There's a massive difference between a friendly rivalry and like an actual hatred rivalry. Friendly rivalries don't really move the needle. Hatred rivalries move the needle. And disc golf right now has a lot of friendly rivalries. I remember when I came in, all I heard was how much Paul and Ricky didn't like each other.
Yeah.
Now they're best buds. What? That's not
sick.
That's not a normal. That's not a normal.
That's all I lived on 2015 through 17, Hunter. It was Duke versus UNC.
No,
like those colors don't run.
It's Hunter. It's fake.
I know. That's what made me sick.
That's what made me sick. Stuff. It's not real hatred. Real hatred is no, brother. I'm not doing anything with you ever again.
To wrestling, what you were saying, Brodie, I get that. Like there's been multiple times where I've watched a sport or like hockey. We all tuned into the USA Canada hockey match, and that was like the first full hockey game I'd watched in who knows how long. Like when you have something on the line and the story reaches outside of the sport, I will watch almost anything. Like for instance, the wrestling. I just saw a clip go up where this guy from Penn State won whatever it was, and he's walking down the podium shaking hands with everyone, and the dude from Iowa that came in second didn't shake his hand. Like if I see an advertisement those two are wrestling, I've never watched wrestling a day in my life. I'm watching that match because I'm holy cow, like there's some tension there. I want to see that.
It's one of the things that makes UFC and fighting sports so unique is like they basically spend months trying to convince you that these two guys, A, are fighting for their lives, and B, hate each other's guts. And then by the time it gets to the actual fight, you can't miss it. So
no, I've gotten sucked into. I'm not a UFC guy. I have paid for probably 5 to 8 UFC fights because there's certain ones where it's just like, well, everyone's watching this thing, and these two guys hate each other. Like one of them's gonna be murdered in that ring. I gotta watch it.
If Ricky and Gannon can keep this up, like for the next couple weeks, then they've got to market this first major as like the title fight of this like early season rivalry. Like they got to make everything about which one of them's going to take.
What I did like about this was that when that podcast clip went up, okay, and you could see in it that the comments of getting lucky definitely got under Gannon's skin. Right.
Yeah.
And he went into the comment section and tried to like clear it up. And he's like, haha, all good fun. I love you, brother. And Ricky, whatever. But like, then when they're out on the course and he's like, I mean, come on, dude, at some point we got to have some honesty here. Like you can start to see you can see through it a little bit. And I'm hoping that they don't like, oh, let's film a practice round together for YouTube. It'll be so fun. And we can all like, whatever, because like that's something where like it could quickly go away. But that's what happens in disc golf almost every time.
So two things to say on that. This actually has potential of actually holding water because of two things. One, they don't run in the same circles. Gannon runs in the much younger circle. Ricky runs with kind of solo dolo, but also an older circle. Two, they both have a lot of money. So they fly, they don't travel together. They're not staying in the same Airbnb. They're separate from one another. So that's where it can hold water. The other thing too is like, I don't know if you guys remember Michael Jordan's Hall of Fame speech. He kept receipts of everyone that ever disrespected him. And he basically used that time to basically call out everyone that disrespected him. I think the more these guys make money and the more these guys get away from having to worry so much about having everyone like them. If the more disc golf gets bigger, if you just have 25% of the population like you and buy your stuff, that's good enough. You don't need everyone to do it. Yeah. And I just think the more it gets bigger and these guys aren't worrying about trying to sell discs, then they don't have to care. And that's the thing is like the only people you really see on tour come out and say stuff is the people that don't care about money. That's it. If you care about money, you zip it and you don't say anything and you try you want everyone to like you.
Well, to Brodie's point, like nobody in disc golf has really been allowed to be a villain, right? Like you got UFC and all this stuff, fights and stuff that are scripted. But in disc golf, as soon as somebody has a little bit of an attitude, like that could cost you sponsorships. That gets people saying, like it's not something that historically has driven the drama. Now, I'm not saying I think everybody should be jerks, but also like you can't just worry, like you said, about what people think about you all the time. Sometimes there has to be a room for some honesty, and I don't know where that is in disc golf. So, we haven't given people permission to take on that villain character at all. So.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between villain and being opinionated. I think villain is like there's a lot of people that are rooting against you. They want to see you fail because of whatever. And I think there are some people on tour that are like that. I think the issue we have is a lot of guys just won't say anything about anything because they don't want to upset someone by saying a comment that technically shouldn't really villainize them, but there's a lot of softies out there. And if you say something that they don't, I mean, I'm getting flamed right now for saying that Ultimate Frisbee, I don't know if you guys saw that clip, but it got into the Ultimate Frisbee world. And now all these people are in my DMs being like, bro, you really changed on us. Saying Ultimate Frisbee is not going to be a popular sport is not a crazy take. Saying kids growing up thinking that they want to be an Ultimate Frisbee
professional. It's the same thing with disc golf. The majority of kids growing up are not trying to be disc golf professionals. That is not a crazy take. You want to be basketball, football, baseball, hockey, astronaut. A lot of times, I'm not saying there aren't kids out there that want to do it. I'm saying the majority are kids, they want to do these other sports. And then if they aren't good enough to make it in those other sports, then they find some other sports. That's the majority of how people get into these sports.
Sure.
Yes, there are some people where it's like, my dad was a professional disc golfer. He groomed me from a young age to be a professional. Sure. But that is not the majority. That's my point. So
one thing rivalry-wise that I think the Pro Tour has going for him is that Gannon Buhr has naturally backed himself into a corner of just like, because he's been so dominant and just like he doesn't really care. Like he cares a lot about how he plays disc golf, but like he doesn't have a PR team, if you will. And so people already have a natural dislike to Gannon, just like whatever reason, whether it's how long he takes, whatever it might be, his attitude.
Kind
I don't
of
know.
Bryson DeChambeau character before
a little
PR.
bit, yeah.
And so like I think that if Gannon just keeps dominating, where it's like, who gives a rip? I'm the best freaking player on this planet.
He attracts the rivalries.
I'm gonna make $200,000 a year on the course before I even sell a frisbee. Come at me. Then I think that could really quickly just set this up where now you just need a good guy. I love Gannon. I think that Gannon's very misrepresented, but like a good guy in the sport of like all of a sudden he's going toe to toe with them and everyone's rooting for that guy. And now you have this rivalry just naturally born because Gannon's not going anywhere for the next 5 years.
No. We thought it was Drew Gibson after Las Vegas.
True.
Could have been Drew.
He said it. He said it.
We had crowned him.
It could have been Drew, man.
Anyways,
he's coming back. Gateway brought him back.
It's true. Topic 3 here. We got a bigger field here, some more players. So Europeans are coming back to the tour. It's always differing when they kind of, decide to join in, but obviously everybody wants to get stateside before the first major. So how big is it? How big of a deal is it for a large part of the European field to be joining the tour in Charlotte? What % strength would you say each division gains with this addition? Nikki, what do you think?
Okay, so I kind of ran some numbers on this one because if I counted right, we're just getting 7 MPO and 7 FPO players coming over from Europe joining Charlotte, which is not huge. It's 6% of the MPO field and 3% of the female field. However, of that group, 3 of the guys made it to the Tour Championship last year. Maury didn't play Tour Championship, I think, because he had military service, if I remember correctly. So he made it in. So when Maury Billman, Niklas Antila, and Rasmus Sarakopi made it into the Pro Tour Championship. So they're strong players. And then we have 4 of those 7 girls who were in the Tour Championships last year. So I made up some imaginary numbers. I think the men's field's strength improves by about 5% as far as strength. I mean, there's a lot of really good players. The Europeans are good players too, but it's only 7 players out of 112 on the Charlotte course. It seems like, it's fairly short, scoreable. We'll see how that goes. The women, I think the field gets about 20% stronger. These are totally just, like I said, they're kind of made up numbers. But, if you're walking into a grocery store as a disc golfer, you will recognize Silva or Evelina or Henna or Anakin. Like these are pretty recognizable people. We see them on coverage a lot. Where with the European guys, like if you know your players, you might recognize a few of them. Niklas for sure, maybe Albert Tom, but I don't even remember the last time, we saw him really in coverage. And some of the other guys you won't. They're just not. They're not as heavy hitters yet on the tour. It's not entirely their fault. I think that they're really good players, and we might see some of them pop off in the woods because they are pretty historically good woods golfers. But I think the men's field gets a little bit stronger, and the women's field gets more significantly stronger.
Yeah, it will be interesting with the first venue. They're seeing such a different one from most of the tour, especially this first part of the tour, minus the New London. Krew, what do you think about the Europeans joining the tour here?
Yeah, I think similar to Nikki on the MPO side, it doesn't really move the needle that much. Obviously, Niklas is a dominant power to have in the MPO field. He'll make a splash, certainly, but it's not like the entire MPO field shivers when they see Niklas signing up. I would say similar, 5%. I like that made-up number, Nikki. It's helpful, thanks. But then on the FPO side, where I think I would maybe disagree with Nikki, is I think that this field just gets significantly better, almost to 100%, because the dominant people that we see that are trying to fill the Kristen spot are back. And so this makes Holland have way more pressure on her, makes Missy have way more pressure on her, because they're trying to battle and develop a legacy. And when the European field isn't there, the FPO leaderboard can sometimes become a good old-fashioned potluck, if you will. You got your classics and then some casseroles you didn't see coming. And so bringing back the European field, bringing back the European field, it makes it exciting because it fills the narrative of who's going to be the next Kristen. Will it be Holland? Will she dominate when the Europeans show up? Or will she crumble and Silva steps up? Or you fill in the blank. So with the MPO side, I'm excited to see Niklas back. I'm a fan. It'll be good just to have his name on the leaderboard. But with FPO, I think it's a complete game changer. It makes the field 100% stronger. I mean, that's pretty exaggerated, but you know.
Yeah, you could definitely argue that it legitimizes it a lot more. Brodie, do you kind of agree with that?
Oh, for FPO, I mean, the thing that we're all talking about right now is, can Evelina putt? I mean, I don't know why we haven't mentioned that yet, because if Evelina can putt, we're not going to be talking about Kristen Tatar. All right. Evelina is a better thrower of the disc than Kristen Tatar.
Yeah.
She just can't putt. And let me remind you real quick, she won a world championship and she couldn't putt. So if she comes back and she can actually putt, this is going to be a problem for the FPO field. We might see a run unlike anything we've ever seen. We might see a better season than what Kristen Tatar had, one of the best FPO seasons of all time. So that's the big thing. And also this thing about people aren't worried about Niklas signing up for tournaments. He won 3 events last year, brother. How many people won more than 3 events? What do you mean people aren't scared seeing him sign up? If I'm a top 10 guy, I don't want to see Niklas in the event. That's a spot. So I think Niklas at one point in time, I know he drifted off a little bit. He had a great USDGC finishing 5th there. But at one point in time, Niklas was looking like one of the top 3 players in the world. I would probably put him at a top 5 right now. Maybe 6 or 7 would probably be where he's at. So him joining the field is massive, but nothing's more massive than Evelina joining the field and all of us looking, can she putt? And I'm not even saying make like 30 footers.
Evelina putt believer.
I'm just saying, like, if she starts draining 15 footers,
I saw the footage.
I'm gonna be like, what is going on? She didn't have to putt from 30. Just 50.
It would be the best thing ever if she came back and just rocked, because she would be so good. Hunter, what do you think about these field strengths?
Yeah, I think the MPO one's interesting because I think it does get a lot stronger, but I don't think we'll necessarily feel it here. Because when we're looking at the Hornets Nest course, like Niklas Antelo he's the guy, right? He's the European strength that we're coming where we're going to feel that. But when we're looking at Hornets Nest, I think the best players at this course have already been here. So I think we'll more feel Niklas when we get to Champions Cup and maybe even when we get to some of the later events. I mean, the Open at Austin, he always loves. And I think it's the same can be said for a lot of the other European players from the MPO field. So I think that while the field will get stronger, percentage is nearly impossible for me to put there. While I think the field will get stronger, I don't think we're going to feel it any different here. We might see a Niklas on coverage some and be like, oh, there he is, but I don't really necessarily expect it much other than that. Meanwhile, if we look at last season, basically we have Missy, Holland, Owen, Silva, Evelina. We have those 5. If you throw Kristen in, because obviously she has to exist somewhere because she was there last season, those 6 players owned 80% of the wins. 19 of 23. There was 4 other players that each won one individual event. So Kristen's gone. We have 5 players, 3 of which have been there. We're gaining 40% of that strength in right there. So when we're looking at that, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say that this is a 40% gain. I mean, I guess we got to go, 30-some% increase, but really when we're going from, 60 to 100, that's a, whatever you want to call it, 80% increase. I don't think it's crazy to say that basically the strength of the FPO field just doubled because the number of players that could realistically win 80% of the events just almost doubled.
Right. I think I do agree with that way of measuring.
Take a point from me and give that to Hunter. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Take a point from me and give it to Hunter. That was the bet. That was a great point.
I like that point too. It was a better way of thinking about percentages than just making up random numbers, because you're right. Like you look at the wins from last year. I want to say one thing about Niklas though. I think one or two things is going to happen.
Don't you dare.
He he lost every single hole in the match play championship last year on this course to Matteo. And I know there's been a little redesign, but he did not win a single hole. So he's either not going to play well because he plays terribly here, or he's been overseas like stewing about it all winter, and he's going to come back and just like totally get
that's
revenge.
A really good point, because as I've been prepping for this weekend, I forgot that precedent we have is so recent, the match play championship.
Ezra Robinson, baby.
Yeah, Ezra Robinson took that down.
Yuli did say that like Matteo at his best might be one of the best disc golfers in the world.
Matteo played really good in New Orleans.
So
disagree.
Maybe that was just the day that he played
any top 30 guy at their best looks really good on the course.
No, he's saying if everyone plays their absolute best, he's putting Matteo towards the top, like top 3.
That's fascinating.
If everybody plays their absolute best, then AB is probably the best.
If everyone plays their best, we got Gannon Burr, Anthony Barella,
so far.
And then Matteo.
Gannon Burr, Ricky Wysocki,
Maddie's putt is way too non-traditional.
This is what Yuli said. I'm not saying this. This is what Yuli said.
It sounded like you started
tell Yuli.
Yeah, it sounds like
I'm just saying he might have gone up against this Matteo.
I was about to say tell Yuli to pick him and pick him,
one win ever.
But that's he's probably going to win this week. So don't take him and pick him.
That week, that was a crazy week.
Let us take him for pick him.
We have to pick first this week.
No, our strategy in pick 'em is to pick and then take the exact opposites.
We're abandoning our picks this week. We're picking and then we're throwing that away, and we're saying all those players are off the table because we suck at it.
That's tough to do though, because in your head that's what you're doing.
We're committed.
We're
committed.
We're committed.
We're committed. All right, last topic here. This one's kind of a fun one. So we've started to see these doubles teams emerge for this Preserve Challenge. I'm kind of excited about it because I think it's goofy. But in honor of all the new doubles teams announced for the Preserve so far, which team do you think looks the best, just skill-wise? Which team has the best team name? Because I think some of them stink. And what would be the best hypothetical doubles team of all time using players from the past and the present? Krew, let's hear it.
Yeah, I think the team to beat is, I feel like it's so obvious. It's Gannon and Calvin. I mean, Gannon basically could have beat a doubles field by himself last year. Shot 42 under. And then, just a small 16 strokes behind him was Calvin. And so I think Gannon is just going to dominate the Preserve course like he always does, like he did last year. And then adding Calvin as a backup who's going to be able to putt with zero pressure, knowing he has Gannon behind him or in front of him, is going to be a pretty unbeatable team. On the FPO side, I think a fun one that I'm really excited to watch is Owen and Taylor Chosick. I think they're going to be a really fun matchup, and I think they have some distance, the chop forehand. I think it's just going to go a long way on the Preserve course, and you can see them make some splashes. The best name, I was scrolling because there are some Garbo ones. Like, for example, the Ricky Wysocki / Adam Hammes team. Awful, okay?
What is it?
It's like TBD, isn't it?
That's just what's on the PDGA website, so I marked it as bad. Be creative, boys. Come on.
That means they haven't come up with one yet. TBD.
Listen, nope. They submitted it as that. It's bad so far. But Pure Vibes, best name, Triple G, okay? Garrett Gerthy, Greg Barsby. It's just, I like it a lot, okay? And then hypothetical best, we're sticking to the Barsby train, but we're going to throw in a 2015 Paul because he won't mess up. And then Barsby right there by his side. They're going to be chucking destroyers. They're going to see AVRs flying in from God knows where. Paul 2015. It's like peanut butter is really great by itself. But then when you throw in jelly that's all right by itself, it becomes an unbelievable combo that cannot be beat. So get ready.
I didn't have Barsby making one of those teams on my bingo card, but the guy is a world champion. Like, put some respect on his name. All right, Brodie, what do you think?
All right. I'm going dark horse on my hypothetical team here. But I'll say this. I haven't looked at the team's names, but I'm actually shocked that they're bad because like disc golf nicknames are so good that I figured that it would just transfer over with how good people are coming up with their own nicknames in disc golf. I was being sarcastic. But I'm gonna move straight because I think the Gannon Calvin team is the team to lose. Like I think if they lose this would be a huge upset. I just don't see another team beating that one. But Calvin's kind of had a slow start, but I mean the preserve's not. I mean, it's how far away from that? Like a month or so?
No, it's not till August.
August.
It's like the third weekend in August.
Yeah,
August 14th or something.
Calvin's gonna be crushing it by that time, so he's completely fine.
Yeah.
All right, best hypothetical team. I'm going Climo and Willie Shoestrick.
Okay.
I got to give you bonus points for shouting out
I'm going Climo and Shoestrick. I just watched this clip.
No forehands.
I just watched this. You don't need a forehand on tour. What the heck? I just watched this this clip of where I can't remember who was saying it, but I think it was some dude, and he was just saying this kid just beat me, and he was like a 14-year-old Will Shoestrick, and I was like, give me that guy as a doubles partner. Now, maybe
Will
not
Shoestrick
14.
does not get enough respect. The guy won 3 USDGCs, man. And he
Yeah.
walked
Guy's
off
an
into the
absolute
sunset.
monster. He
He's so
still
good.
throws. I still remember watching him throw like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and his throw looks like it should go 400 feet. And it was one of the longest throws I've ever seen in person.
He's got the build.
It's insane.
Man,
Got them go-go gadget arms.
we really missed out on him. We really did.
How old would he be right now?
He is still
He's-
alive, so that's
Yeah,
one thing to think about.
yeah, isn't he like in his 30s?
Yeah, he's like 33, 34.
Like he's young enough to
Prodigy.
sure.
How old is he? How old is he?
He's no
Okay.
older than 35. He's Paul's age.
Yeah, I think he's
Oh.
33,
Yeah.
34.
I
Just
know.
the shoulder
Imagine-
Nate
impingement.
Doss is only like 37. Like,
Could you imagine if he was still playing?
It's just the shoulder. He's got that
dang it,
hitch
man.
now.
It just makes me mad. All right,
I
Hunter.
wish he was in his prime.
He was
Weigh in
born
on
in
this, Hunt.
1992, so
34?
Yeah, was that 34?
he's either 33 or 34 depending on when his birthday is.
Man.
So
Dang
that's really young.
alternate for Shoestrick in case he does get injured. I'm putting Feldberg in there.
There
Oh,
we
Daddy
go.
Dave.
Man, you
Climo
guys are
and
just making the
Feldberg?
great picks.
No, Climo and Feldberg. Or you think someone's going to be able to? Those guys are going to get in other people's heads.
True. It's
If
true.
we're talking trash talking and stuff,
All right.
I
Hey,
wouldn't
but I
joke
can't
can't
that.
agree
Greg,
with everybody else
Greg
has here.
Barsby.
This is crazy.
Yeah. All right, Hunter, what you got?
Yeah, I think, first off, team being very much slept on right here because we're talking late in the season. When we get there, we have a team that also has a lot of distance. Paul McBeth and Anthony Barella. Basically,
Yeah.
Paul and Mini Paul, the chemistry is going to be there, vibes are going to be there, and why the heck can't disc golf be there too? I think they could play very, very well out there. On the FPO side, honestly, I like the Owen and Taylor Chosick play a lot. I think they're going to be a very solid team. I think Paige and Missy Gannon could really be impressive, but sleeper team, the Mandahano sisters. Something could happen there. They've been playing together for their entire lives. People always come after us because we gas up Valerie Mandahano. I think in a doubles tournament, they might do something together there. Best team names. I just was looking through here. I think there's some great ones. First, 4 meters of man. Funny name. James Conrad, Connor O'Reilly. That's legendary. I did also like the C-tier stompers. Lucas Carmichael and Joel Freeman. That's solid. One of the worst names of all time. Check yourself before you clay yourself. Let's try a little harder there, boys. Check yourself. Good. I get that. Clay Edwards, just a little bit of effort. Check yourself before you clay yourself. What are we doing there? So I also did like
They could have
Dallas.
gone like clay shooters.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of ways to go. Dallas Garber
So
and some
many.
old guy for Stott Stokely and Dallas Garber. That's hilarious. Good time. I'm taking 2024 Gannon Burr and 2015 Paul McBeth for my doubles team.
4 meters of man.
Yeah.
Real quick question. Isn't that just like over 12 feet?
I think it's just they're both 6 feet tall. Yeah.
Oh,
So it's just
yeah.
I
like
think Connor O'Reilly's taller than 6 feet, brother.
it might be. I don't know.
I think they should have gone 5 meters.
Well, no, but meters, it's
But 5, they're going to 15
2 meters
feet.
is more than 6
You
feet.
think
'cause
James
a meter is more than
I don't
3
think
feet.
they're getting to 15 feet
Oh, wait,
between
4
both
meters
of them.
is 13.1.
So that's 6'6" and
That's-
6'5".
Yeah, that's high.
That's
that,
fine, yeah.
that sounds right.
4
I
meters
was
of
gonna say,
man.
I think
That's fun.
I think
give 'em
both those
props.
guys. I was gonna say. I think both
They're
those
tall
guys are like 6'4" at least. So yeah,
4
great
meters
name.
of man. Very good name.
Great name.
All right. Nikki, what do you got? What's your take on the doubles teams here?
Okay, I'm gonna go with Gannon and Calvin for MPO. I know that that's really boring, but Gannon won by so much, and having a good thrower like Calvin in the pocket too, when they're both great on the putting green, I don't know, they're the team to beat. I do actually like their team name. Maybe it's just cheesy, but it's clever how they just put the H in from Gannon Burr and their team Heimberg. I thought that was kind of a cool combination. So I don't know. It's pretty lame, but I can be lame sometimes, so that's fine. I liked their team name. On the girls, I was at first drawn to the Owen and Taylor team, like was mentioned, but we have a team up of two women who've won the Preserve. Katrina Allen won in 2023 and Silva Saarinen won in 2025, and they are a doubles match. So I'm going to pick them because they've both won the tournament before. And I think Katrina doesn't get as much love as she deserves sometimes. I've caddied on cards that she's been on, and she is a master at throwing the disc. Like, she really is a very solid player. And I don't know if maybe she sometimes gets in her head or what breaks it down, but she has a wonderful throw, both forehand and backhand. And Silva's such a good putter. I really think that they're going to be a very tough team to beat. And I think they're going to get overlooked, maybe because neither of them have like this huge personality that stands out. So, but we'll see. I like that pairing on the FPO side. I think Owen and Taylor might end up having too much fun and then might get unfocused. I think my all-time doubles team, I was going to go with like the classic Paul, Macbeth, and Gannon. And then I really was like thinking about it. I'm going to put Gannon on. Gannon is the best disc golfer that's ever lived. Okay. And he just is. The courses are harder. They're longer. He's playing them like crazy. But here's the thing. I'm a huge Paul fan and prime Paul fan, but Ricky is keeping up with Gannon now. Right? Which means like, even though he's Paul's age and he's been out there for a while, he is staying in the game. He is leveling up too, because if he's still in this rivalry, like, he's still getting better. So I don't know. I think that no team is stronger than Ricky and Gannon. I think they would beat any historical doubles team playing together. Ricky's the best scrambler that's ever lived. I don't know. I just don't think you can beat that team. I think they're the best doubles team that has ever or will ever exist.
As long as they don't get into a big fight.
Well, they might fight, but they need to play good disc golf. Like, both of those guys live and breathe awesome disc golf. Like, that's their everything. So
should they change their name?
Should
they change their name to Werner Heimsenberg?
What?
Heimsenberg? Werner Heimsenberg?
They changed their name?
No,
I'm saying
proposing it.
Oh, okay.
He's
You're trying to think of something better than
it
that.
says a lot about
Heisenberg.
Gannon's like try hard mentality, that like he's got a lot of buddies on tour,
And he went with Calvin.
And he took Calvin. He said, "No, I want just a guy who's a dog." Like,
I will
I'm taking
say,
Calvin.
I do see a potential, like what I'd always talked about, of a player could they get in with Holland Hanley and Addison Woodard. Like, Holland, #1 player in the Pro Tour standings, pick number 34 in the Pro Tour standings. If they somehow pop off and Holland drags her across the finish line.
Well, I don't know if she'll have to drag her. Addison can play. She's young, but she has a lot of power, and she's a really good player. Played good at Ledgestone last year.
What if that's the way she gets into the Tour Championship? Makes the Powerball Cup. Because
Addison just didn't show up till the end, but she's really strong.
I want it to happen because I want to get to the end of the season and be able to have something to be mad about.
I do think, though, there's a very high possibility, because they're playing doubles, like with like the Katrina Allen thing, like we'll probably see some players that look incredible, and we're like, why are they always this good?
They're doing
because
multiple types of doubles,
pressure.
right?
Yeah.
I think they have like an alternate shot, and
Because alt shot you can't really hide in.
Do you think collegiate doubles ever could happen, like on the Pro Tour? Do you think that would be interesting?
I think it's electric, but I think it might be hard just because you have teams of 4. I think that's how Manufacturer Cup could work.
Oh, you're saying if there was a Manufacturer Cup, that would be the format?
That would be a cool event.
Well, in any way, case, we have a tie here. Important to note, Brodie, if you hadn't donated your point, you would have been another. You'd made your way into the tie.
If only the points were made up and someone was in control of them.
Well, hey, no, I didn't think about that. I just so far it's just where it happened. If you've seen the show before, you know that our tiebreakers are super, super fair. I'm going to go back to the most recent event being the Big Easy Open. I'm going to name a player, and whoever can name as close to where they finish as possible. Helps that Nikki was at the event.
Dear. Yeah,
so
but
going to be tough to beat. And
Can I guess who you're going to pick?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, wait. Do we have to like hold up our phones so you can like tell we're not peeking?
Honor system.
I think
you're going to pick Garber.
If my camera goes black.
Okay.
I'm going to pick. I'm picking Calvin Heimberg. We just
Oh,
we
gosh.
kind of gave a little bit of a hint.
I think I know
But-
exactly where he finished.
Oh,
don't.
Hunter, I'll give you $5 if you get.
Okay.
Well, let the other two make their guess.
I'm not going to guess it, but just let me guess third. Let me guess third.
You just said I know 100%.
Well,
where
yeah,
he
because if I
finished.
said what I think, I might give it to them because I'm pretty positive I know where he finished.
But I'm saying you're gonna go. Yeah. What? Do you
Let me
think-
guess third. Let me guess
you-
third before
Yeah,
Trevor
I will
reveals.
let Hunter guess third.
Yes. Are you
Yeah.
gonna get $5 or not?
Am I putting up $5?
No. I'm just saying if you
I
guess
want
it,
$5. Yeah, I think
You're
I know
gonna-
where he finished.
100%. You said.
I'm like 80% confident.
I'm like 0% confidence.
All right. Krew, Nikki, guesses. Just throw them at me.
I'm gonna go with 14th. I really don't remember any
That was good.
storyline. So is that the number you were gonna go with?
No, it's close though. I'll
Okay.
say 19th is what I was thinking.
Please,
Hunter?
for some
Hunter?
reason,
Or
I
100%?
feel like we picked him and pick him, and he was in 31st.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
21st.
Oh, I was the most wrong.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Krew moves on to the finals. Here we go.
Wow.
Final topic. So this one is another hypothetical. This one's kind of wild, so I'm curious to see where people go with this. So I want a power ranking of the current 4 disc golf majors based on your projection of where each of them will be in 20 years. This ranking is mostly related to where you think the prestige, purse, field strength, and infrastructure of these events will be in the hypothetical future. So for the sake of this argument, you can assume that the 4 current majors are still Worlds, USDGC, Champions Cup, and whatever the European major would be. You can predict any kind of name or venue changes. You can get as crazy as you want with this, but you're kind of like using the groundwork they already have plus the potential you think they have and then giving me those power rankings. I will flip a coin here. Hunter, you're in the lead. Call it in the air.
Tails.
It is heads. I think that's 3 weeks in a row. Heads is kind of dominating right now.
How big of a lead do I have to get before I can just go first?
I don't know to tell you. Listen, I changed it this year because people wanted me to do it like this. It is what it is. You know, I'm innocent. Krew, would you like to go first or second?
I'll let it rip first.
In
Sounds
fairness,
great.
this topic you can get crazy with. This isn't
And
that
get a little
essential.
wild.
All right, go ahead, Krew.
Yeah, I think we'll start with the number one. USDGC will always just have a place in disc golf history. I think this is why the Masters and the PGA Tour is the most beautiful tournament that ever exists, because it's history. It's at the same place. You can look back on old narratives over and over again. USDGC will always cement its place at the top for me. Next, Worlds. Worlds is always going to be up there because we see at Toboggan, the infrastructure is growing immensely. Worlds is always going to be a big deal just because it says Worlds. And I think this Toboggan intro into what crazy infrastructure looks like with First Form being brought in, all these things will create a template to go forward as we continue to develop the tournament. The next one, as long as European Open doesn't change their name to like Europa Eastern Hemisphere Cup tournament of all time, I think we're going to be okay. I think this is another one that can start to cement itself in history. Just because it's in Europe, it gives us some kind of structure. It's always going to be in somewhat of the general area. It's going to feel the same in certain countries, and we'll just be able to continue to develop the history of the tournament. I think the world's infrastructure being built is going to help the European Open infrastructure continue to build, which will then continue to cement itself as a great major. The last one, I don't know if people are going to like me for this, and that's okay. I think the Champions Cup it's schizophrenic, first off, okay? Because I feel like it doesn't have an identity. I know it's like the Woods Golf Tournament, but we don't have that all the time. And I think the hard thing with the Champions Cup is that it's not viewer friendly. Unfortunately, Woods Golf is hard to sell. And so it's going to take, I'm really hoping New London changes my mind, but I'm really hoping that as the infrastructure continues to build for majors in general, maybe a place like New London can become a home for this. Woods Golf can start to kind of have more Woods Golf feel, but not being Woods Golf at the same time. But it's just a hard sell for me as the Woods major. So, yeah,
that's a fair point. All right. So I think that's definitely a answer that I would expect. I would call that the chalk bracket. Hunter, does yours differ at all?
Absolutely. I'd first like to thank Krew for going first and handing me this win, because the first three things you were said to rank on was prestige, purse, and field strength. And no matter what you do, only one of these has the name World Championship, which will guarantee the field strength. It will guarantee the prestige. And most likely, if all history continues to repeat itself, it will guarantee the purse. The infrastructure is the only thing that's questionable around it. But I do think that as we've seen over the last few years, a bar is beginning to be set that I think is going to continue to get pushed forward. So I imagine the infrastructure side will continue to grow. 20 years is so far in the future that if the World Championship still exists, which I think you could argue maybe it won't, but if the World Championship still exists 20 years from now, nothing will touch it, because that's always going to be the title you want to win. Now, the other three is where I think things get interesting. Second one, I'm going to actually have to go with the European Major. I think is the one 20 years from now we're going to have our jaw is going to continue to be on the floor, because if we think about where it's already at, I think the only place it's lacking currently is field strength. 20 years from now, I'd like to think that a major is going to just have good field strength, right? Players are going to be able to tour. More money should be in the sport. And with the head start that the European Major, currently the European Open, has on community support and countrywide support, it's hard to imagine that event doesn't continue to push the sport farther and farther and farther forward. I wish I could say USDGC, as Krew put it, number one, but here's the reality. Can Winthrop Gold hold 20 years of growth? I don't think it can. If we leave Winthrop, now I think the USDGC has the best event team that's currently in the sport, now that UC Maresma is out of the sport. However, the place they hold it is a big thing, and if we're moving to an unknown place that might happen 10 years from now, they have 10 years to kind of develop it. I'm not crazy about that, because I don't think it can hold this growth 20 years from now. And then Champions Cup, I think, is just the most unknown. Right now, it's starting to find its identity back in the woods, but last year they were on a golf course. So why are we thinking that 20 years from now it's still going to be the wooded major? What we do know about it is the PDGA wants to bring it home, and I just think that's the most unknown. It's hard to know where it's going to go.
Yeah, I'm going to have to tilt towards Hunter in this one, because I do think that the biggest, I agree with the European take, because you also got to remember the geography and the courses are just better. They just genuinely are. So that is just, the field strength is the only thing that holds that back. That plus the time zones aren't ideal either. But I do think that has a ton of potential. And also, yeah, Winthrop is such a big question mark. And I like to think that major is in good enough hands that it won't stink. But to Hunter's point, if 10 years from now it moves, the clock just resets a little bit. Like, it's still a good major, but you do lose at that point. It would be, gosh, what, 40 years or
35,
whatever?
37.
Like of history at one specific event. So it'd be a huge blow to the morale of that event. And I hope it doesn't happen, but it's definitely on the table. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. But I think we all agree that Champions Cup is in limbo if they can't stick to woods. The one thing I will say, though, if Champions Cup could just commit, like, I was curious if anybody would bring this up. Like, if Champions Cup just committed to being the wooded major and they were like, we are literally going to stay at 3 different wooded courses and rotate them or something. I think in 20 years it could be in a really good spot. But Krew, good point. The like ability to host spectators and such, and the coverage spottiness, like, that's always going to be a factor. So congrats, Hunter. People are going to say that I gave you just a courtesy win after last week's, fallout, I guess, but it is what it is.
So last week the win got ripped from me, so I'm glad to be back on top.
Okay, well, here's what I will say. I have a very important plug, because our producer Silas has his first ever signature disc coming out this Friday. Silas, yeah, grab that one off your desk, Silas.
Dude, this guy's getting good at disc golf too. Don't let him fool you.
Rip it. Look at
this might just take.
Look at that.
It's
My
so
God.
good.
Put it like center screen. We can have it filled. Yeah, a little down, a little down, a little left. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Boom.
Wow.
The Colossus.
See, that's cool how they took the name and put it in, like Team Heimberg, Colossus.
exactly.
If you like Calvin Heimberg, you have to buy a Colossus.
So this
Good to find
Friday,
print.
5 p.m. Eastern, foundationdisc.com. If you like debate night, Silas helps make it possible. Support Silas. Grab this disc.
If you like Chore Life and you think it got worse like a year ago, also help support Silas.
These are the
Shout out to PDJ Mike. Shots fired.
This is the Star Colossus from Innova with an awesome Colossus stamp on there. Silas loves flipping these things over, rolling his wrist on his forehand.
But that won't happen to you.
It's a great disc. So make sure to check that out this Friday. Also, if you want to submit any topics for our next episode of Debate Night, you can scan this QR code here on the screen. Next week, we'll be talking Queen City Classic and probably talking about somebody rolling their ankle on these really short tee pads that are sometimes uneven and so on and so forth. So we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.